We are absolutely thrilled to cut through all the noise today. We're going on a journey that, well, we really believe will profoundly redefine how you approach success, fulfillment, and frankly, pretty much everything in your life. Today, we're taking a really deep plunge into the concept of abundance, and we're moving far beyond those common misconceptions to reveal its true, transformative power.
It really is an incredibly fascinating journey we're about to embark on. We've compiled just an exceptional stack of material for this deep dive, drawing from both ancient wisdom traditions and, modern success narratives, too. What's truly remarkable, I think, is that across all these diverse sources, there's this singular, powerful idea that consistently emerges, and that is abundance is far more expansive and crucially accessible than most people typically imagine. Our goal is to explore its core metaphysical truths, and then, importantly, connect those directly to practical, actionable steps you can actually take in your everyday life.
Absolutely. Our mission today is to unpack these insights, to make them tangible, and offer you practical techniques, things you can apply, like right away. This isn't just about gaining knowledge. It's really about equipping you with a fresh perspective, one that will stick with you, packed with surprising facts and really engaging stories that will illuminate these profound ideas. So let's just get straight to it. All right, first up, Section 1, Redefining Abundance. It's about more than just money. When you first hear that word abundance, what immediately pops into your mind? For many of us, I think the first thought is often linked directly to finances, isn't it? We picture, overflowing bank accounts, stacks of cash, financial freedom. But as we really dug into our sources, we discovered a much broader, far more profound definition than just dollars and cents.
Absolutely, that's spot on. The core message consistently highlighted in all our material is that abundance isn't merely about accumulating physical possessions or, a certain amount of money. Although finances are certainly one aspect, let's be clear, true abundance, according to these insights, is about a state of having more than enough. And this extends, crucially, to every single facet of your existence. Think about it, right? This wider definition includes having an abundance of opportunities that continually present themselves. That could be in your personal life, your professional journey. For business owners, it means more than enough potential clients consistently coming your way. In your dating life, maybe it's about an abundance of suitable, fulfilling partners. For your career, it signifies countless advancements and possibilities opening up before you. And overall, it ties into this profound, pervasive sense of well-being, an inner richness. The very act of limiting abundance solely to finances, well, that actually acts as a boundary. It's a self-imposed restriction. Our sources state it so powerfully, beliefs are nothing more than boundaries. And your beliefs, whether you realize it or not, they will always dictate the limits of what you can materialize, what you can truly experience in your reality.
Wow, that makes incredible sense. It's almost like we unconsciously put a cap on what's possible just by our initial, very limited definition of abundance. So if our beliefs draw these boundaries, what happens when we try to operate within them? Our sources introduce a concept here that really stood out to me. You can't sit in two chairs at once. Can you elaborate on that? Because it feels pretty fundamental.
Yeah, that analogy is absolutely critical. It reveals a fundamental truth about your energetic state, your alignment. You are either vibrationally aligned with abundance or with scarcity. There really is no middle ground, no lukewarm space, no neutrality. If you're not actively aligning yourself with abundance, then, well, by default, you're aligning with some degree of scarcity, consciously or unconsciously. It's an either-or proposition. It's a distinct choice you're making with your energy, even if you don't realize you're making it. And here's another, I think, paradigm shifting idea that comes through so strongly in the sources. Abundance is actually your birthright of being the materialization of God. It's not some privilege granted to a select few, something you have to, earn or strive for externally. No, it is your natural inherent state. However, and this is key, the deep dive suggests that through societal conditioning, through generations of ingrained beliefs, the stories we've told ourselves, you've been conditioned out of this natural state. This means that often there's actually more to unlearn than there is to learn when it comes to truly living abundantly. We're sort of peeling back layers and layers of limiting beliefs.
Okay, so what does this all mean for us then? If abundance is our natural state, our birthright, why does it feel like we're constantly swimming upstream? Why are we always battling that familiar nagging whisper of, I don't have enough? Why is that narrative so incredibly loud and, well, dominant for so many of us.
Yeah.
What's really going on there?
That I don't have enough mindset is, exactly as you said, a deeply ingrained belief. It's been perpetuated not just within families, but culturally, really, for generations. This belief system, this constant feeling of insufficiency, it infects every aspect of our minds. It literally creates an internal separation from the very goals and desires we wish to attain. When you look at a goal from a place of, I don't have enough, you're implicitly creating this vibrational distance between yourself and that goal, making it harder to attract. And this leads us to a crucial metaphysical understanding. Abundance and scarcity are actually two polarities of each other. No, these energetic pairs of opposites, think masculine and feminine, light, dark, hot, cold, rich, poor, positive, negative, they only exist within what our sources call this third dimensional realm we inhabit. Think of this third dimensional realm simply as our everyday physical reality, the world where we perceive things as separate you versus me, wealth versus lack, good versus bad. What these sources suggest is that outside of this, let's call it illusionary realm, on a deeper energetic level, everything is oneness. It's a bit like the concept of quantum entanglement in cutting-edge physics, right? Where two particles, even when they seem separate across vast distances, are somehow intertwined, instantaneously connected. It's a really profound idea. If everything is fundamentally connected, then our experience of lack or scarcity is truly just a perception. It's not a fundamental truth of the universe.
Wow, so scarcity is more like an illusion we buy into.
In a sense, yes. The crucial insight here is that while abundance and scarcity are experienced physically as distinct and different, they are fundamentally the same energy. The one difference between them, it's their rate of vibration. To use a simple analogy from the sources, think of steam and ice. They're both the same energy, water, right? H2O. But they have vastly different rates of vibration due to temperature. If you alter the vibratory rate of steam, it can become ice. Alter the vibratory rate of ice, it can turn into steam. The underlying energy is identical. The only difference is the rate of vibration. Therefore, to move from a state of scarcity to a state of abundance, the only thing you really have to change is your internal rate of vibration. It's all about shifting your internal frequency.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. If the goal is to change our vibration, to shift from scarcity to abundance, how do we actually do that? What's the practical mechanism? How does it work?
Our sources explain this beautifully, actually. Vibration, when it gains momentum, becomes a frequency. And all frequency is immaterialized reality, while reality is materialized frequency. Okay, to put that in maybe a more concrete way, think of it like a blueprint for a house. The blueprint itself is the immaterialized reality. It's a design, an idea, a set of instructions. It exists, sure, but you can't live in it yet. But when you apply energy, focus, action to that blueprint, it starts to solidify. It becomes actual walls and a roof. That's the materialized frequency, the house itself, a tangible reality. Your thoughts, your self-concept, they are those blueprints. This frequency, in turn, is basically interchangeable with your state of consciousness, your self-concept, and your self-image. They're all different terms for the same internal energetic state, and the absolute starting point for all of this, the very genesis, is your concentration of focus.
Concentration of focus.
Okay.
Yes. You are either concentrating your focus on aspects of your life that imply scarcity, resonate with scarcity, or reflect scarcity, or you're doing the exact opposite. This, according to our sources, is the fundamental mistake many people make. They are inadvertently focusing on what they lack, thereby perpetuating that very lack in their experience. Understanding scarcity from a point of frequency means understanding it energetically, vibrationally first. Once you grasp it at that deep level, you can then understand it physically and, more importantly, undo the scarcity that you're experiencing. It gives you the leverage to consciously shift your experience.
So our focus is absolutely foundational. But what about when we know we should focus on abundance, but our emotions, our gut feeling is just screaming scarcity? Is there a disconnect there, or are they all part of the same puzzle?
Yeah.
And where does the heart come into all of this beyond just being, a pump?
That's a brilliant question because it points right to the critical role of emotion. Our sources highlight that the heart is a more powerful field of electromagnetism than your brain. Now, while the brain isn't useless, obviously, it's essential for conscious thought, reasoning, directing your focus. They need to be combined. They need to work together. You can intellectually understand something with your brain, but to truly impress it upon your subconscious and actually shift your frequency, you need the heart's power. You need that feeling. The language of the subconscious mind isn't repetition in the purely mechanical sense, like many might think. It's not just saying something over and over like a robot. The true language of the subconscious is emotion, right? This means that one single intense emotional experience can completely alter your state of consciousness far more effectively than just mere mental repetition. When you feel something deeply, when you truly resonate with it, you impress it upon your subconscious mind, creating a powerful new blueprint.
Okay, so if our internal state, our focus, our vibration, our emotions is absolutely key to this shift, how do we consciously manage it? How do we shift it, especially when those old habits, those negative thoughts just keep creeping in, the ones that seem to pull us right back into that scarcity mindset we're trying so hard to escape?
Right. And self-doubt is usually the big one, isn't it? It's a major roadblock for so many. But our sources offer a truly radical, honestly liberating reinterpretation of it. They state, quite powerfully, to doubt self is to doubt God. Now, the underlying belief here, as it's explained, is that you are the materialization of God, the physical expression of God, and God dwells within you. So every single time you doubt yourself, you are in essence doubting this omnipotent, all-powerful force. You're doubting the infinite potential that resides within you. This completely reframes self-doubt. It's not a personal failing or some character flaw. It's something far more profound and ultimately more manageable. Furthermore, self-doubt isn't actually a flaw in your character at all. It's described as nothing more than a defense mechanism of your old frequency or your current reality. Think about it. When you decide to embark on a path towards your desired reality, which remember is just a new frequency, a new state of consciousness, your old reality, which is kind of conceptualized as a living entity, feels threatened.
A living entity.
Yeah, it desires energy, right?
Yeah.
Your focus, your emotion. And if it no longer gets your energy, it faces potential dissolution. So what does it do? It starts to play the game of self-doubt. It sends those familiar whispers, you can't do this, who do you think you are? It's basically an attempt by your existing internal patterns to keep you from changing, to keep you in the comfortable, known, albeit limiting reality. So the issue then isn't experiencing self-doubt, because honestly, every single human being experiences it at some point. The real problem is lacking the capability to alchemize that self-doubt into self-certainty.
Alchemize. I like that.
It's the perfect word for it. This alchemization is the key. The moment you begin to perceive self-doubt as a great thing, as a positive sign that things are indeed changing on an unseen plane, that you're pushing against the boundaries of your old reality, that you're stepping into new territory, its projected weight immediately lifts. It's no longer this heavy burden. It becomes a signal, like a signpost saying, hey, you're on the right track. And here's a really powerful reframe. Self-doubt is nothing more than misdirected belief.
Misdirected belief.
How so? You're still believing, right? You're just believing in your inability to achieve something. The belief mechanism is still active. It's just pointed in the wrong direction. This means the capacity to redirect that belief, to shift its target, exists inherently within you. Can't and can are energetic opposites, the sources say. The presence of one implicitly signals the potential for the other.
Okay, this is a huge shift in perspective. Really huge. Instead of fighting self-doubt or seeing it as weakness, we can see it as a signal that we're moving forward. But if it's misdirected belief, how do we actually redirect it? How do we shift that energy so it serves us instead of hindering us?
It really comes down to understanding the true nature of thought itself. Our sources tell us something profound. No thought is real except the one that you choose. We often make the mistake, you see, of identifying with the fish, the transient, passing thought, instead of identifying with the stream or the river, the mind itself, the vast underlying flow of consciousness. Imagine it this way. You are not the train, the thought that pulls into the station. You are the train station itself, simply observing trains coming and going without getting attached to any particular one.
That's a great analogy.
Or you are not the clouds, you are the expansive sky within which they float. You are not the waves, you are the boundless ocean itself. Thoughts are simply messages, downloads perhaps, that you receive from the collective mental plane, or maybe just your own subconscious patterns. And you, as the conscious observer, have the inherent power to accept or reject them. Just like you can deny a physical thing you don't want. Like if I offered you a burger with tomatoes and you hate tomatoes, you just say, no thanks, I'm good, right?
Right. Easy.
You possess the exact same capability to deny a thought that doesn't serve you. If a thought of self-doubt comes in, you can choose not to engage with it, not to believe it. Now, if you pour emotion into that self-doubt, it's like pouring gasoline or petrol onto a fire. That emotion fuels it, makes it feel more real, more powerful in your experience. So how do you counteract this? You actively cultivate self-confidence. And here's the amazing part. The mind, brilliantly, can't distinguish between truth and imagination if it's vivid and intense enough.
Okay, so use imagination.
Exactly. Use your imagination consciously, creatively. Visualize scenes where you are already experiencing the confidence and success you desire. These scenes should be simple, short, and repeatable, something you can easily loop in your mind like a mental boomerang. And crucially, they must generate genuine emotion within you, that feeling of joy, satisfaction, certainty. For instance, visualize yourself getting that job offer. Really feel the excitement, or imagine driving that dream car. Feel the leather, smell the interior. See the desired amount of money in your bank account. Feel the relief and security. When you do this consistently with feeling, you create internal self-confidence. You establish a new dominant frequency. And self-doubt, it gradually just loses its place within you. It gets crowded out by certainty and conviction.
That's incredibly practical advice.
Yeah.
So powerful. But beyond managing our internal state and redirecting doubt, our sources dive into an even deeper framework, right? They call it the Christ way of manifesting. What are the core principles here? How did they deepen our understanding of abundance and our connection to it?
Yeah, they do go deeper. And first, it's important to clarify what's meant by Christ in this context. It's not referring strictly to a religious figure in the modern sort of dogmatic sense. It's presented more as a title of spiritual mastery. It signifies a particular degree of consciousness or a specific level of spiritual mastery, a state of profound unification with the divine or the all. Our sources clarify that figures like Buddha and Krishna also represent the same unification with God mentally. They are seen as avatars, like us, who achieve this unity, enabling them to perform what we might perceive as miracles simply because they understood and aligned with higher universal laws. There are 3 core principles outlined for this Christ way. Principle 1, become one with the all. This is really about recognizing your inherent unity with God, the infinite intelligence, or the all, whatever term resonates with you. The fundamental mistake we often make as human beings, apparently, is wanting to materialize a desired reality while simultaneously feeling separate from it. If you intensely want something, it often implies you don't currently have it, right? And that creates a vibrational gap, a feeling of separation, of lack. But when you truly unify yourself with the all, with the universal source energy, you gain access to all frequencies, all parallel universes, because your desired reality is nothing more than a frequency that already exists within the infinite potential. This mental declaration, repeatedly affirming to yourself, feeling it, I'm one with God, God is in me, this harnesses infinite intelligence on the mental plane. And the mental plane is described as the realm of cause.
The realm of cause.
Yeah.
Meaning it starts there.
Exactly. Since every cause must have an effect, aligning yourself mentally in the realm of cause initiates the materialization in our physical reality, which is the realm of effect. Principle 2, be impressed by nothing. Now, this one sounds incredibly counterintuitive, maybe even cold, but it's profoundly liberating when you grasp it. It means reaching a state of internal fulfillment where external things, whether it's a fancy car, a big promotion, even a relationship, cannot significantly alter you internally. Your core state remains stable. The universe, according to these sources, interprets being impressed by something as attributing it importance. And attributing importance indicates a particular degree of reliance upon it, which signals a lack of fulfillment within yourself. It's like saying, I need that external thing to feel complete or happy.
Okay, so it's about inner wholeness first.
Precisely. Our sources perfectly illustrate this with the anecdote of the devil in the desert. You probably know the story. Jesus is supposedly at his lowest point, physically depleted after fasting. The devil appears and offers him everything you can see here. The world, immense wealth, ultimate power, basically every conceivable earthly desire. But Jesus wasn't impressed by anything. Why? Because he was already internally whole and satisfied in his connection to the divine. He had no internal lack for the devil to exploit or tempt him with, because he desired nothing externally, having already harnessed God within and being one with the M. All the universe, represented by the devil in this story, had nothing to gas him up with, nothing to leverage against him.
That's a fascinating interpretation.
It is, isn't it? And we see this principle play out in everyday life too, as the sources highlight with the dating analogy. Think about it. Whenever you seem to really, really want that person, they seem to not really, really want you. You're pouring all your energy into chasing them, signaling this neediness, this reliance on them for your happiness.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
Right, but then maybe you stop caring or you begin to detach. You find that internal fulfillment, you realize your happiness isn't actually dependent on them, and suddenly they seem to seek you out. This is the universe, or just human psychology, interpreting your internal state. Your intense wanting signifies a lack of internal fulfillment, making you seem needy, perhaps less attractive. Detachment, on the other hand, signals an inner wholeness that becomes vibrantly attractive. The more importance something external would have in altering your internal state, the more the universe might just withhold it until you achieve that internal fulfillment first. And then there's principle 3. You can't manifest anything, but God within can. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive, yet truly liberating principle of the Christ way. The core idea is that your ability to materialize reality isn't dependent upon you because you can't do anything. Now, the you here refers to the ego, the physical vessel aspect of yourself, the limited, finite mind that often feels constrained by self-limiting beliefs, a sense of powerlessness, maybe a lack of self-esteem.
Okay, so the limited self can't do it.
Right, but what God represents in this framework is infinite, the boundless, limitless potential of the universe itself. And that infinite potential is precisely what gives us the capability of transcending all human limitations, all scarcity, all struggle, as Jesus is quoted in Matthew 19.26. With men, this isn't possible, but with God, all things are possible. This completely shifts the burden, doesn't it? You don't create reality in the sense of like forcing it into being from nothing. Instead, reality is revealed. All frequencies, all possibilities already exist within the infinite. You are simply making what is invisible visible by becoming vibratorily aligned to it, by internally shifting to a degree where you're no longer emotionally dependent on seeing the external reality change before you feel good. When you truly realize that you're not the one that materializes anything and it's to do with God, when you release that frantic need to make it happen through sheer effort or force, you no longer have pressure to perform. Your deep conviction, your quiet knowing that God can do anything and will do anything through you, that's what empowers the manifestation. It allows you to release the struggle and operate from a place of certain calm knowing.
Wow. These principles are truly eye-opening, especially that last one, releasing the pressure, because it's not us doing it. So this profound understanding naturally leads us to the crucial question. What are some of the practical, actionable ways we can apply these ideas? How can we work directly with our subconscious mind using these principles?
Exactly. The power of your subconscious mind is immense, and there are very direct methods to impress upon it your desired reality, effectively making the invisible visible, like we just discussed. Remember, the subconscious mind is receptive, it's non-selective. It basically acts on whatever is impressed upon it most strongly, whether it's good for you or not. It just carries out instructions. So let's start with the power of suggestion, or autosuggestion. You are constantly bombarded by negative suggestions, right? From external sources, news, social media, other people, and often from your own internal dialogue. You'll never amount to anything. You'll fail. It's no use trying. Autosuggestion is basically presented as a reconditioning therapy to counteract these deep-seated negative programs. Since the mind can't distinguish between vivid imagination and external reality, you can consciously impress constructive, positive thoughts onto it. One of the most striking, maybe even shocking stories illustrating the literal power of accepted suggestions is The Man Who Lost His Arm.
Oh, I remember reading about this one. It's intense.
It really is. Our sources recount this tragic tale of a man whose daughter suffered terribly from a crippling form of arthritis and an apparently incurable skin disease. Medical treatments had completely failed. For 2 long years, this desperate father repeatedly said, just over and over, feeling it deeply, "I would give my right arm to see my daughter cured." His subconscious mind, taking this intensely felt suggestion literally as a direct request, acted upon it with devastating precision. One day, his family was involved in a horrific car collision. The father's right arm was tragically torn off at the shoulder, and immediately after the accident, his daughter's arthritis and skin condition completely vanished.
Unbelievable. It really drives home the power and the need for care in what we suggest.
Absolutely. It underscores the immense and sometimes terrifyingly literal power of the subconscious to manifest deeply impressed suggestions. It's a stark reminder to be very mindful of what we repeatedly tell ourselves, what we ask for with intense emotion. But on a more positive note, the very same principle works for more everyday challenges, like overcoming performance anxiety. Look at the story of the singer's stage fright. There was this talented young singer invited to a crucial audition, but on 3 previous occasions she had failed miserably because of overwhelming fear and anxiety. Despite having a really good voice, she kept telling herself things like, when the time comes for me to sing, maybe they won't like me. I'll try, but I'm just full of fear and anxiety. Her subconscious naturally accepted these negative autosuggestions as instructions and manifested the fear, the shaky voice, the whole thing. So to overcome this, she started a specific technique. 3 times a day, she would isolate herself, sit comfortably, relax her body and mind deeply. Then she consciously counteracted the fear by saying slowly, quietly, and with real deep feeling, I sing beautifully. I am poised, serene, confident, and calm. She repeated this maybe 5 to 10 times each session and always once right before sleep, letting the words kind of lull her. After just 1 week of this consistent, positive self-talk, she was completely poised and confident during her next audition. Gave a truly remarkable and successful performance.
That's amazing. It shows how targeted, repetitive suggestions infused with that positive emotion can literally reshape our internal state and, consequently, our external performance. What other practical techniques do the sources offer for tapping into this subconscious power?
Okay, next up we have the mental movie method. This is a really powerful one. It involves visualizing your desired outcome as if it's already happened, and crucially, feeling the reality of it. The core idea behind it is act as though I am and I will be. It's about engaging your imagination with such vividness, such sensory detail, that your subconscious accepts it as a present truth, as something already real. Consider the story of the lecturer's permanent location. There was this lecturer who traveled extensively but deeply desired a permanent, stable location in the Midwest, somewhere he could comfortably serve his audience from. So one evening, alone in his hotel room, he relaxed completely, closed his eyes. He started to imagine himself standing before a large audience. He visualized their faces clearly, felt the warmth of their presence. Then he heard himself saying with profound gratitude in his voice, I am glad to be here. I have prayed for the ideal opportunity. He played this mental movie over and over, really dramatizing it, feeling that deep sense of satisfaction, knowing this vivid picture was fully conveyed to his subconscious. The very next morning, he woke up with this great sense of inner peace, just knowing it was done. And within a few short days, boom, he received a telegram offering him the exact kind of organization in the Midwest he had envisioned. He accepted, enjoyed working there for many years, a direct manifestation of his mental movie.
Feeling the reality of it seems key there. Not just seeing it, but feeling it.
Absolutely, emotion is the glue. Another very effective method mentioned is the Baudouin technique, named after Professor Charles Baudouin, who was apparently a brilliant psychotherapist. He taught that the most effective way to impress the subconscious mind is actually to enter a drowsy, sleepy state. You know, that moment just before you fall asleep, or just as you're waking up, where conscious mental effort is reduced to a minimum. Then you simply repeat a brief, condensed phrase summarizing your desire over and over again as a lullaby, just allowing the words to gently sink into your receptive subconscious without any force or strain. A really poignant example is the family lawsuit. There was a young lady in Los Angeles caught up in a really bitter family lawsuit over her deceased husband's will. His children from a previous marriage were fighting it, causing her immense stress. She applied the Baudouin technique. Every night as she relaxed into that sleepy, drowsy state, she condensed her deepest need into just a 6-word phrase. It is finished in divine order. Now to her, that phrase meant that infinite intelligence, the higher power, would bring about a harmonious and just adjustment to this really difficult situation. She repeated it every night, just gently for about 10 nights, feeling a sense of inner peace and tranquility as she drifted off to sleep. This consistent, peaceful application bypassed her conscious mind's worry and resistance, and it reportedly brought about a harmonious and unexpected adjustment, successfully concluding the difficult lawsuit in a way that benefited everyone involved.
Just a simple phrase, repeated gently in that sleepy state. Fascinating.
It is. Then there's the thankfulness method. This is described as incredibly powerful, especially when you're currently experiencing lack or feeling really overwhelmed by circumstances. The instruction is simple. Repeatedly say, thank you, Father, for my wealth, in a relaxed, peaceful manner until a feeling of genuine, deep thankfulness dominates your mind and heart. The story of Mr. Broke's wealth illustrates this perfectly. This guy, Mr. Broke, maybe not his real name, but symbolic, was truly at rock bottom. Out of work, bills piling up, 3 kids to support, just desperate. For about 3 weeks, every single night and morning, he consistently repeated with as much genuine feeling as he could muster, thank you, Father, for my wealth. He imagined he was addressing the infinite power within him, knowing that his thought feeling, that gratitude, was the very substance of the wealth he needed. Whenever those fear thoughts crept in, lack, distress, he would immediately counter them with his affirmation. Thank you, Father. By diligently maintaining this thankful attitude, he systematically reconditioned his mind to the idea, the feeling of wealth. He shifted his dominant frequency. And soon after, he had this chance encounter with an old employer he hadn't seen in 20 years. This employer, completely out of the blue, offered him a very lucrative position and even a temporary loan to help him get back on his feet. Mr. Brooke went on to become a vice president of that company, attributing his astounding turnaround entirely to the wonders of consistently saying and feeling, "Thank you, Father."
Gratitude as frequency shifter. That resonates. What about affirmations in general?
Right. Affirmations are mentioned too. To affirm is simply to state that something is so. And by maintaining this attitude, this inner conviction, your prayer, your desire will be answered. Your thought can only affirm, the sources say. Even denying something implicitly affirms its presence in your awareness. The key is to avoid mental conflict between what you're affirming and your current apparent reality. So for general financial well-being, instead of affirming, say, "I have $1 million," when your bank account clearly says otherwise, which might trigger mental resistance and doubt, a more general affirmation like, "By day and by night I am being prospered in all of my interests," avoids that mental argument. It allows your subconscious to work without contradiction, finding paths to prosperity you couldn't consciously conceive of. And finally, for more direct action, maybe rapid manifestation, there's the decree method. Power goes into your word according to the feeling and faith behind it, but importantly, there should be no mental striving, coercion, force, or mental wrestling. It's not about efforting. It's about stating your desire with calm conviction, just knowing that the infinite power within you is backing your word, making it so. A quiet confidence. The story of releasing an unwanted suitor demonstrates this method beautifully. A young girl was really troubled by this persistent suitor. He was constantly calling her, showing up at her workplace, and she just couldn't seem to shake him off. It was causing her distress. She decided to use the decree method. She firmly stated, internally or perhaps out loud quietly, "I release name of suitor unto God. He is in his true place at all times. I am free, and he is free. I now decree that my words go forth into infinite mind, and it brings it to pass. It is so." She affirmed this with conviction, knowing her word, backed by universal power, would manifest. And what happened? According to the story, the man simply vanished. She never saw him again, as though the ground swallowed him up.
Wow. Just vanished.
Just vanished. It highlights the incredible power of a clear, faith-filled mental decree to manifest changes in your external reality, even in tricky interpersonal dynamics.
These stories really do illustrate the profound impact these internal shifts can have. It's clearly not just abstract theory. It's about actively changing your internal state to align with what you desire and then seeing the external world rearrange itself, sometimes in really surprising ways.
Precisely. And one of the most potent times for impressing the subconscious mind, as we touched on with the Baudouin technique, is actually during sleep. Your subconscious mind never rests or sleeps. It's always active 247. And healing, problem solving, guidance, these things often occur much more rapidly during sleep because there is no interference from your conscious mind, no doubts, no fears, no analyzing to block the flow. This allows your subconscious to work unimpeded, finding solutions, orchestrating events, bringing forth guidance. A really poignant example of guidance received during sleep is the story of the job offer. Remember, the young lady offered a highly lucrative position in New York City, twice her current salary. She was really unsure whether to accept it. So prior to sleep, she prayed simply, "The creative intelligence of my subconscious mind knows what is best for me. Its tendency is always lifeward, and it reveals to me the right decision, which blesses all concerned. I give thanks for the answer, which I know will come to me." She repeated this simple prayer like a gentle lullaby as she drifted off, allowing it to sink deep into her subconscious. In the morning, she woke up with this persistent, undeniable feeling not to accept the offer. It was just a strong inner knowing. She rejected the job, and subsequent events totally verified her intuition when the company went bankrupt just a few months later. Her subconscious foresight, unburdened by conscious anxiety during sleep, literally protected her from potential disaster.
That's incredible foresight.
Isn't it? And another remarkable instance is how Dr. Banting discovered insulin. Dr. Frederick Banting, a brilliant Canadian physician, had been intensely studying the ravages of diabetes, a devastating disease with no effective treatment back then. He spent considerable time experimenting, researching, just grappling consciously with the problem. One night, utterly exhausted from his conscious efforts, he fell asleep. While asleep, in a moment of pure inspiration, his subconscious mind presented him with the crucial insight. He was essentially instructed to extract the residue from the degenerated pancreatic duct of dogs. This was the exact key. the missing piece of the puzzle that led directly to his monumental discovery of insulin, which, as we know, has since helped millions and millions of people worldwide.
Wow, the answer came in sleep after all that conscious struggle.
Exactly. It shows how conscious focus on a problem, combined with then turning it over to the subconscious during that receptive state of sleep, can unlock profound, life-changing solutions. And then there's the truly compelling, almost unbelievable story of Dr. Lothar von Blankschmidt's escape.
Oh, the prisoner of war story. Yes.
That's the one. As a prisoner of war in a brutal Russian coal mine during World War II, facing almost certain death from starvation, brutal guards, and this impossible daily quota of 300 pounds of coal, he began to concentrate intensely on one thing: his escape. He knew, somehow, his subconscious would find a way out. Every morning, the chief guard would count the prisoners by tapping them, and when it came to his number, 17, he was supposed to step aside. Dr. Schmidt began to vividly visualize with intense feeling the guard being called away right before counting him, and then, upon the guard's return, mistakenly starting the count again from the next man, thinking he was number 17, so his absence wouldn't be noticed. He played this mental movie over and over, feeling the relief, the freedom. One morning, the exact scenario played out precisely as he had visualized it. The guard was called away just before 17. Upon his return, he astonishingly continued counting from the next man as 17. Dr. Schmidt simply walked out of the camp, completely undetected, blended into the surrounding landscape, and eventually made his way to freedom in Poland.
That is just mind-blowing. The level of detail.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It highlights how the subconscious can seemingly orchestrate external events, even the actions of others, to align with a deeply held, visualized intention. Even in the most dire, impossible-seeming circumstances, it works on unseen levels.
These stories powerfully illustrate the profound impact these internal shifts can have.
It really
drives home that it's not just theory. It's about actively changing your internal state to align with what you desire, and then watching, sometimes in awe, how the world responds and rearranges itself to match that new internal blueprint.
Precisely. And, we've even heard from some of our listeners recently, providing more contemporary examples of utilizing these abundance techniques to manifest specific items or relationships in their own lives. Real-world application.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, one listener shared this really detailed story of manifesting a black BMW convertible. She wanted to test just how specific her manifestations could be, almost like an experiment. So she wrote down her desire for a BMW black convertible, being incredibly precise about every little detail she wanted. Just a day and a half later, she was at a car wash, sitting outside, and guess what? Pulls up and parks right next to her car, almost brushing it.
No way.
The BMW. A black BMW convertible, exactly as she specified. She says she screamed, almost fell out of her chair because it was so specific, down to the color and model. The emotional charge she got from that moment, that undeniable proof, was so powerful that it became the reason she started manifesting like crazy, as she put it. This experience built her manifestation muscle, teaching her that even these seemingly small, specific manifestations can powerfully reiterate to your mind, oh wait, I do create my reality, which in turn builds immense confidence and conviction for pursuing larger desires.
That's a brilliant way to build faith in the process.
It really is. Then there's also the story of the fully paid Cadillac. A young lady had been taking lessons on the power of the subconscious mind, learning about manifesting desired things. She decided to apply the mental movie method to manifest a car. Interestingly, she didn't specify a brand or model, just that she wanted a car. She imagined herself going to the showroom, getting into the car, driving it, feeling the upholstery, really experiencing the profound joy of ownership. She consistently kept this mental picture vivid, feeling its reality for over 2 weeks. Within that time, her uncle unexpectedly passed away, and he left her his Cadillac and his entire estate completely paid for. Her internal conviction materialized into her external reality in a surprisingly complete, albeit unexpected way.
Wow. Sometimes the how is completely unexpected.
Often, yes. And for those seeking connection and companionship, the sources also describe how to attract an ideal partner. The method involves relaxing, closing your eyes, and directly talking to your subconscious mind, affirming the desired qualities you seek in a partner. For a man seeking a partner, one might affirm qualities like honest, sincere, loyal, faithful, peaceful, happy, and prosperous. For a woman seeking a wife, maybe affirmations like spiritual, loyal, faithful, and true. The key, again, is to affirm these qualities with deep feeling and truly feel that these qualities and the person embodying them are irresistibly attracted to you. One woman mentioned in the sources, after 2 difficult failed marriages, applied this. She affirmed specific qualities for a masculine, loving, financially stable, and successful man. Through persistent prayer and mental visualization, focusing intently on the feeling of having such a partner already in her life, she eventually met her ideal partner, demonstrating the power of subconscious attraction to bring forth the right relationship when you focus on the qualities and the feeling.
Focusing on the essence, not just a specific person.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, a great example of shifting challenging interpersonal dynamics at work. The story of the car salesman's promotion. This salesman was deeply resentful of his sales manager. He felt the manager disliked him, treated him unfairly, despite his consistently good sales figures. He'd been with the company for 10 years with absolutely no promotion. He realized through this kind of study that his inner speech, his internal dialogue, was just filled with criticism and hostility towards his boss. And that was being reflected back to him in the manager's attitude. Our inner world creates our outer, right? So he decided to consciously change his internal dialogue. He began to pray, affirming things like, I am the only thinker in my universe. I am responsible for what I think about my boss. I wish health, success, peace of mind, and happiness for my boss. He repeated this and, crucially, used mental imagery, especially prior to sleep. He imagined his sales manager shaking his hand, congratulating him warmly on his fine work. He felt the firm handshake, heard the genuinely pleased tone of his voice, clearly saw him smile. Night after night, he conducted this internal mental movie. Gradually, his internal concept and emotional feeling towards his boss completely changed. And guess what? The boss's external behavior dramatically responded. The sales manager called him to San Francisco, congratulated him warmly just as he'd imagined, and promoted him to division sales manager over 100 other salesmen with a significant salary increase.
That's incredible. Changing himself changed the boss's reaction and his whole career trajectory.
It perfectly shows that changing your internal perception and emotional state towards others can profoundly shift their behavior towards you and literally open doors to new opportunities you couldn't force open before.
So the blueprint for abundance truly begins within. It's crystal clear from all these stories and principles. But these aren't just one-off techniques, are they? It sounds like an entire way of living, a consistent commitment to maintaining that internal state. How can we really integrate this into our daily lives? How do we cultivate and sustain this abundance mindset consistently so it becomes our new normal, not just something we try now and then?
You've hit the nail on the head. It's absolutely about consistent internal work. It's about making a habit of happiness and deliberately establishing positive mental patterns. It's a proactive choice you make every single day, not something you just leave to chance or external circumstances. First, fundamentally, it's about choosing happiness. Happiness isn't something that just happens to you. It's presented as a state of mind and, importantly, a habit you actively cultivate. Our sources suggest that every morning you consciously choose happiness. You can do this by affirming statements like, divine order takes charge of my life today and every day. All things work together for good for me today. I am definitely going to be happy all day long.
By pouring life, love, and genuine interest into this affirmation, really feeling it as you say it, you set the energetic tone for your entire day. This consistent practice, like the farmer mentioned who did it for over 40 years, effectively programs your subconscious to perceive and create happiness throughout your day.
Making happiness a daily habit. I like that. Exactly. Another vital daily practice is thankfulness for blessings. Regularly give sincere thanks for your blessings, the big ones and the small ones. Everything. Furthermore, extend this gratitude outwards. Actively pray for the peace, happiness, and prosperity of others, your family, your friends, your colleagues, even people you find challenging and, all people everywhere. A thankful heart is always close to the riches of the universe because gratitude instantly shifts your vibration from lack to abundance. It opens you up energetically to receive more of what you appreciate. It's also crucial to ensure internal harmony. Our sources point out something interesting. If you're dissatisfied with your external reality, but you're still somehow satisfied with yourself, your inner state, it shows a disconnect. It indicates you maybe don't fully grasp the multidimensional way reality is shifted from within. You must change yourself, your dominant thoughts, feelings, core beliefs to truly change external conditions. The inner world consistently creates and reflects the outer. They can't be fundamentally out of sync for long.
So aligning the inner and outer makes sense.
Then there's the timeless principle of the golden rule, which is deeply embedded here and applies metaphysically, not just ethically. What you think and feel about others, you ultimately bring to pass in your own experience. If a man cheats or defrauds another, the sources say, he is actually cheating and defrauding himself. His own ingrained sense of guilt, his mood of loss, will inevitably attract lack, loss, and limitation to yourself. Conversely, consistently sending forth kindness, goodwill, love, and prosperity thoughts to others will return to you multiplied, often in countless unexpected ways. Your mind is a creative medium. It reflects back what you consistently project outwards.
What goes around comes around on a mental level, too.
Precisely. Now, when it comes to dealing with criticism or conflict, the absolute key is to understand that it's never what a person says or does that affects him. It is his reaction to what is said or done that matters. You possess the inherent power to control your reaction. You can absolutely disagree without being disagreeable. Don't allow others to annoy you, to pull you down into their lower frequency state. Your thought is creative, remember. You can choose to bless them instead. If someone calls you names or tries to provoke you, you have the inner freedom to mentally, calmly say, God's peace fills your soul, or something similar that resonates with you. This protects your internal state and prevents their negativity from significantly affecting your own frequency. Central to cultivating this whole abundance mindset is forgiveness. You must forgive yourself for past missteps, release any guilt or shame, and you must forgive others, not necessarily condoning their actions, but releasing the negative charge. You do this by actively pouring out love, life, joy, and goodwill towards them in your thoughts and feelings. The acid test for forgiveness, according to the sources, is this. Can you hear good news about someone who has wronged you? Maybe they got a promotion, found happiness, had some good luck without sizzling with resentment or jealousy.
Ooh, that's a tough test.
It is. If you still feel that sting, that resentment, the sources say the roots of hatred are still there, playing havoc with your own peace, your own well-being, and blocking your own abundance. Forgiveness isn't really for them. It's for your own liberation. It removes self-imposed blocks to your own good. And finally, even the concept of old age as an asset falls under this abundance mindset. Don't fall prey to the pervasive propaganda that associates aging solely with decrepitude, uselessness, or inevitable decline. The sources strongly affirm you are as young as you think you are, and crucially, your mind never grows old. Instead of focusing on physical changes or perceived limitations, focus on the incredible wisdom, skill, and invaluable experience you've garnered throughout your years. Old age can truly be the dawn of wisdom, a time for spiritual and mental exploration, maybe engaging in new ventures, contributing your unique perspective. It's all about maintaining a vibrant, expanding mental attitude, refusing to be defined and limited simply by the number of physical years you've lived.
That's a wonderfully empowering perspective on aging. Maintain the inner vitality. Wow, what an absolutely incredible deep dive into the true meaning, the true scope of abundance. From redefining wealth way beyond just money to understanding self-doubt not as some personal flaw, but actually as a portal for change, and embracing these profound spiritual truths of manifestation. It's just undeniably clear that the power to shape your reality lies entirely within you.
Absolutely. The consistent thread woven through all these diverse sources, all these compelling stories, is the absolute paramount importance of your internal state. Your thoughts, your emotions, your dominant feelings, your core beliefs, these are the things shaping your external reality from the inside out. It's all about aligning with the infinite potential that already resides within you, recognizing that abundance is your inherent birthright, not some external prize you have to desperately chase or earn.
You've really been given a powerful blueprint today, not just for, acquiring specific things, but truly for transforming your entire experience of life by mastering your inner world, by consciously choosing your internal state day by day, moment by moment. So here's a thought to carry with you, maybe mull over. If reality is truly a materialized frequency, as the sources suggest, and your self-concept, how you define yourself, who you believe yourself to be, is interchangeable with that very frequency, what bold new self-concept will you choose to embody and project out into the world starting today?
Remember, you already possess this immense power. The journey to abundance isn't really about gaining something new from outside yourself. It's much more about mastering the art of revealing what's already inherently yours, just waiting beneath the surface to be made visible in your experience.
Dive deeper into these ideas, really experiment with these techniques in your own life, and watch, maybe with curiosity and excitement, how your reality begins to shift and reflect the abundance you cultivate within. We honestly can't wait to see what you discover.